Hello, guys. I'm really happy to be with you today. So many beautiful comments. It took me a couple of minutes to read everything, and that's why I'm a bit late. And our tradition, please confirm that you can see me and you can hear me well. And so that everything is fine and I know it. Thank you. How are you, by the way? Thank you so much for being with me this Saturday evening or Saturday day or Saturday morning. By the way, because of you, I have improved my knowledge of time zones. Very good. And also, I'm really good at flags of countries because I often want to comment and to leave your flag of your country together with Ukrainian one. And it's kind of very interesting how you teach me a lot, and I'm really 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 grateful for that. Greetings from to all of your beautiful oblasts: Ontario Oblast, Carolina, North Carolina Oblast, and Oregon. Thank you for buying me coffees. Thank you so much, William. Greetings to you and your people, your family. Manchester Oblast. This is an honor that you like using Ukrainian name for a region, for a state, for a county. And thank you so much. This is really heartwarming. And I'm really glad to have all of you in my life. And today I'm happy to answer all of your questions. We have beautiful moderators, but they are more than that. They are an essential part of our every discussion, and this is Spencer and Martin. So greetings to you guys too. They are with us. Like the majority on our channel, we don't in the community, we don't need moderation, but just because we're talking about Russian orcs, sometimes Russian trolls appear. So just not to interfere our communication. And thank you so much. Also, if you're new to the channel, subscribe. And if you are with me for a long period of time, then do like this video, making it more and more visible. You know that at the beginning, I was not just that concentrated on the numbers, but what I understand that the more subscriptions you have, the more YouTube offers you. That's the way the algorithm works. So if you can make your relatives, friends, or I don't know, your cats or dogs have their YouTube channel, let them subscribe, because that's the way to make it more prominent. Please forgive me if it makes you a bit, I don't know, irritated that I remind you that. But anyway, also Martin reminded me that, because first I reminded Martin, but a channel that maybe you watch, and that is Silicon Curtain. Jonathan, the host of this channel, the owner, the author of this channel, invites many interesting speakers. Was honored to be a part of his interviews, and he plans to come to Lviv, and together with Orest Zub, another Ukrainian YouTuber, they are organizing a panel on the 10th of August in Lviv. And they have a very good purpose, once again, to attract attention to Ukraine, war in Ukraine, to discuss the things connected with that. And also, they plan to attract much attention, so that 1 million views, and I will be there. So on the links that Martin leaves in comment, and also I have in my community tab, you can join us online, or perhaps there is some information and you can join us offline. So now I will be happy to answer your questions. And I know, yes, and your reactions. Okay. Mm, thank you so much for buying me coffees. And I have like my friend messaging, like sometimes I believe I have too many tasks, and that's not the good quality. Recently, like today, I gave myself like a couple of hours not doing anything, like, I mean, just like frustrating, and I felt so guilty for not using this time properly. And then I realized, come on, it's Saturday, and tomorrow is like Sunday. But anyway, so which courses do I teach? Like, teaching is a part of my job, not everything. Like, it's one of many things that I do, and I teach simultaneous and consecutive interpreting, language policy of European Union, and I used to teach political linguistics. So anyway, all of these courses are around my linguistic communicative skills. Do I have any pets? No, I don't. But today, those of you who follow me on Instagram, if you don't, you can join me. The links to my Instagram page is below every video, because today I have met 4 corgis. And maybe you know that I'm a huge fan of this type of dogs. And Samoyed dogs are also very beautiful. But I met 4 corgis in a cafe next to me, and they were so cute, and they were like eating ice cream, like people were making photos of them, and I loved it. So that's, I have shared it today. um So, yeah, congratulations to Sweden that will join NATO. Of course, there are some troubles and other things, but like some good things, they always happen after challenges, and we know there are always countries and people who try to prevent that. But anyway, this I think is very beautiful. Um, this is something very beautiful that, like, when Russia started this war, one of the fake reasons that it used was NATO, that it's afraid of NATO growing bigger. And now it has Sweden and Finland joining NATO, which makes Russian border with NATO much longer, and like they have nothing to say. So for me, it's really a nice thing, and I congratulate very much. From one point of view, of course, we would like to be with you guys. Thank you so much, Morten, for buying coffees. We would like to be with you in this package of countries joining. Also, I had a number of like a little bit emotional videos during the NATO forum. Um, but I would like to. You're saying I love this channel, and I was reading I love this Chanel, and I'm thinking, no, I don't have any Chanel. Should you say yet? Okay, sorry, that's a girly stuff, but sometimes we have to. So anyway, I was like a little bit angry, but you have to understand that we do realize that Ukraine cannot be a member of NATO during war. We know that. We did not expect someone will tell us like, since tomorrow you are in. But because what made us a little bit what made us a little bit angry is the fact that, like, no plan, no date, no direct list of demands. Also, another thing that I wanted to say is that I do not block you on Instagram or elsewhere if you correct my pronunciation. Never. Like, I'm always very tolerant for advice that you give. Of course, I know there are some Russian trolls who will tell me like, "Oh my God, your pronunciation is so bad that nobody understands you." But believe, like, my um, life experience. Um, gives me a hint that people do understand me, and I will never be like frustrated with comments like that. By the way, like, the more um, mm, the more views you receive, the more troll comments you get. But when someone is correcting me, or I can make mistakes in numbers, in dates sometimes, that's like obvious. I'm a human being. So if you correct me, I'm totally okay with that. Greetings to the United Kingdom. And yeah, I know that like some people wrote me that you wanted to see me with a raccoon. I would love to have one nearby, but I'm sorry. They are not that available in Ukraine. We don't have them in wild nature. Thank you so much, Lukash, I guess, for coffee. Please, once again, also forgive me if I mispronounce some of your names. I don't want to, but first of all, languages differ. Secondly, I'm not having really good eyesight. I'm wearing contact lens, but they never compensate you like 100. So, and plus, it all moves really quickly. Um, then I had so many beautiful questions. Like, by the way, someone asked, "How are your students? Are they alive?" You know, in Ukraine, it sounds a little bit sarcastic because, like, I'm sorry, everything is fine from what I know. They are on vacations, uh, and that is why I don't like some of them follow me on Instagram, and I know less. I don't follow them. Like I think a teacher should not. And but in general, they are okay. Also, someone was asking me about Zelensky saying that every Ukrainian should study English. Well, I support him. It's not something that is obligatory or you will be persecuted if you don't speak language, but it will be more encouraged. And it will be like on that. A future reader of my book. Yeah, I have accomplished like 7,500 words. I believe I need at least like 36,000. So you can imagine where I am at the moment. That's why I'm working on that. But also about my priorities, about my job. Um, well, it's just like balancing. Um, I have always been into like communication, into writing, into culture. So everything is just the same. I was never like um, just a university teacher. I was combining everything, and I also think it's good for students. And that's why someone was asking, like, my city is 160 kilometers from Lviv, and there are trains and other ways to connect from Lviv to Lutsk. No, I'm not working on Ukrainian recipe book because it should include some like I don't know, fried moskals, but they will ban it on Amazon. Okay, dobry вечір, dobry вечір. Also, I read someone that your relatives are from Bila Cerkva. I have been to Bila Cerkva, so greetings to you. History lesson. Well, I try to make history lessons online in my Discover Ukraine series, and I encourage you to watch them and give me ideas. What would you like to know in comments? Because I always read the comments. Sometimes I may not like get into a conversation, but I always read the comments, and I try to like I'm not gonna show you, but I have lots of like notebooks where I keep my ideas, and I have each notebook responsible for something. That do I have time to sleep, Bob? Yeah, I do, because sleep is very, very important for me. I'm like a person who likes sleeping. My profession, I'm applied linguist by profession. I also do writing for the daily Ukrainian newspaper, and I feel that my vlog is a continuation of that. And also, I am into popularization and protection of Ukrainian cultural heritage. And as my friend Trev says, hit the like button because like there are many of us watching and not that many likes. So if it's not difficult. Well, like a question, I have recently recorded a video about a Cyrillic alphabet, and I would not like equate like I would not equate. Thank you so much, Krzysztof, for coffees. Cheers. This is like I like sparkling water. I'm sorry. Um, Привет. So it's not the novel. It's more of a nonfiction book. Like I mentioned 7,500 words, and like I need at least like 4 times more of that. I live close to Belarus border. Yes, I do, but I don't plan traveling to Belarus at the moment. And East Slavic like languages and cultures are different, and that's actually what I'm trying, like in that book that I'm working on. I'm trying to explain that well, like Slavic is not the only heritage of Ukraine, and this is a kind of like, of course, we are Slavic, and for example, my region is definitely Slavic, but as all big countries, we are a mixture of different cultures, and it was same in the past time. If you think about France, if you think about Britain, I'm not saying the US because like the New World and people who come from different heritage from old countries, that's different. But even if you look at this old European countries, you will realize that there were different tribes, the Huns, the Gauls, the Celtic heritage, all of that mixed and shaped your countries, the same with Ukraine. And Russians were trying to make it like just like there are three sisters, like Ukraine, Russia, Belarus, and Belarus and Russia is the eldest sister or something. So that's it. Thank you. So, okay, Ghost from Homel. Yeah, I greetings to people from Belarus. I hope that you support us, Ukraine, and you support changes in Belarus. I have more optimism for Belarus than for Russia. I don't know. I have been to Minsk. My like great grandma, well, she's Ukrainian by origin, but she was born in Pinsk region. And I think we have much in common. And I think how different life would be if that revolution in 2020 in Belarus could have taken away Lukashenko. And I know that many Belarus people are fighting for Ukraine in the International Legion. So anyway, I do hope that one day it well, like Tsigani or Ternopil Oblast. Well, like Ternopil Oblast is not far away. I have been to Ternopil. That's a beautiful city, but I need to know more. But of course. Okay, greetings to everyone. Okay, someone was cleaning after ducks and a roommate. I wonder, are ducks your roommates? How much sour cream do Ukrainians eat? Like that's unusual. That's a usually no an unusually usual question, because like Ukrainians do eat a lot of sour cream in comparison with other cultures. I realized that because I had sour cream for dinner, like not sour cream for dinner, but I used it during my dinner. So anyway, look, those who give me advice that I look tired, like if I play with light, it will change drastically. But I am not having a studio yet. Well, after I get 100,000 subscribers, maybe we should start with that. But in general, I would not qualify myself as looking very bad or tired right now. I pretty well know when and how I look, but you forget that we live in a country with war. And also, for example, like some of my sensitive friends saw that I was not looking really good recently, but that's because it was half a year I've lost my mom, and I have, like, sometimes a habit of crying, and it somehow interferes with the way you look. Smetana, все буде сметана. Well, I would not. Smetana? Smetana is the Ukrainian word of the day today, and it means sour cream. Sour cream. Yeah, we do eat a lot of sour cream, and it's different than yogurt. It's not the same. And so, hello, guys. Yeah, my name is Anna. Yeah, please forgive those of you who hate maybe that I repeat every vlog one and the same thing, but you have to understand that people sometimes like join our channel for the first time. I try to squeeze it, not to irritate those of you who are for a long time with me. Thank you so much, Lloyd, for coffee. Like, cheers. And yeah. Uh, well, like on my Instagram, I have posted the photo. By the way, subscribe to my Instagram, to my Twitter, and to my threads, and join my Discord community. We have a beautiful dictator there, Martin, who takes control of everything, including me on Discord community. And on Instagram, like I shared a story because you know that like part of my family first in the 30s immigrated to Argentina. My father was born in Argentina, and then they returned back to Ukraine. And this part of the family, when moving, it was a part of Poland back at that time. And it was like shared by my great grandmother that she was of the noble origin, and it's a mixture of like of Polish, Ukrainian, Lithuanian family that had a right to have a coat of arms. Like, the typically coat of arms has a number of families that can use it. It's Tarnava. There are some people who are into that. And I was on an excursion in our Lutz castle, and after the war is over, I invite you. We have a 14th century castle in my city that hosted the meeting of European monarchs in 1429. So we were actually a part of European Union before European Union existed. And no, it's not Tarno, it's Tarnava. It's like the name of the coats of arms. Greetings to Johannesburg. So it was not like some huge nobility, and it's not very fine, but it looks like the family name sounds similar. They come from the very same image, but I can't understand Polish, but I don't speak well. Hablo un poco español porque tengo mi familia en Argentina con quien comunicamos muchísimo, pero nunca estaba en países con español como idioma mejor. Necesita práctica. So sorry, guys. Yeah, szlachcianka a little bit. No, it's a mixture. Like it looks like it's a mixture of Lithuanian and all of that. And if we're like finishing talking, and my mother's side comes from also very beautiful region of Ukraine, not the western parts of Ukraine, but close to Chernihiv, Baturin, and it was once capital of Ukrainian hetmans. And why Russians drink so much vodka? They feel they are evil, and they try to poison and kill themselves. So maybe in French I can only say merci and some like bad words that I'm not going to say because I'm drinking sparkling water, not wine. How do you feel about non-Ukrainians wearing vyshyvanka? Of course, I like it. Guys, we are very different from Russians. And we are very open, and we have always liked foreigners coming to Ukraine. We were always like inviting them, feeding them, sharing our cultural heritage and other stuff. And when we see someone um, using, and we have never been like, you have to choose, you are either Ukrainian or American. Well, you can be a bit of everything. Plus, in our history, we have lots of good people who are important for Ukrainian history, who were not like Ukrainian by birth, they were Ukrainian by choice. I also believe it's possible. Like you can come to a country, like fall in love with that country, follow the rules of that country, accept its culture, and it's okay. So of course, if we see someone who wants to wear vyshyvanka, who respects, maybe also I don't blame people for not knowing something. It's okay if you make mistakes, but if you try to learn and you don't understand something, even if you mix some facts from Ukrainian history or you misspell, for example, for a very long period of time, the names of Ukrainian cities were spelled in a Russian way, like Kiev, or Odessa with double S. In Ukrainian, we write it differently. But I know that you're not doing it in a very negative way, but because you were just like, that's all you knew. And it's our task to explain. And that's why don't be afraid to make some mistakes. Or I'm not talking just about language, because with language it's totally understandable, but I mean in history or in some of your assumptions, if you are open and you're ready to learn. I am already super grateful that you want to know it, because I cannot say that I know much about the history, like I don't know, of Iceland or South Africa, but when you start telling me, I'm fascinated with that, because I'm a kind of a person who likes it. So anyway, I do hope that after we win this war, and that we will win this war, you will be able to um, to come and experience that, and this interest will not disappear. Yes, I listen to. No, like Lodz Castle is in the perfect, like it's a national site of memory heritage. It's protected and it looks really well. You can Google, you can see, and like in general, everything is fine. And I have a question about Okeanels. Yes, I like them a lot. Like when I was a teenager, I loved them. Like when you grow up, you become very, very like reserved. So like if I would see now Okeanels, I would not like, oh my God, what's up? Oh, come on, guys, everything's well. But uh, but in general, they are doing a great job. I did not support, like maybe you don't know that, but this frontman, Sviatoslav Vakarchuk, he was trying to be a politician and he entered Ukrainian parliament twice, but I don't think it. I don't think it kind of his cup of tea. Like if you're talented in something, maybe you should focus to that. But in general, yeah, I like the music, especially the fast albums. They were like, and they are perhaps one of my favorite bands. So, and in general, I think there are many interesting things. You were asking about like Jewish influences in Ukraine, and many cities, especially when we were like Ukraine for a long period of time was separated between different empires, between Austro-Hungarian, Russian Empire, Polish Commonwealth, and in many cities there were huge like Jewish heritages, and in some regions, they have entered like cuisine, literature, and Shalom Aleichem is a very famous writer who has also lived in Ukraine. So there are many things, and I'd say that in Ukraine we have never. Once again, Ukraine is a very positive. We are not a chauvinistic country like Russia. Russia always tries to demonstrate disrespect to everybody. That is their attitude to the world. And That's what like in Ukraine it's different. Thank you so much, Robert, for buying me coffees, and it always gives me an idea to take the next sip. Yeah, I've been to Zhytomyr, nice city, halfway between like my like if you travel to Kiev from Lutsk, you measure like Zhytomyr gives you this half part of way to Kiev. I am a university teacher, but like it's not just only teaching. Like I teach at the applied linguistics department. No, I haven't decided a name for my new show because I'm like still thinking. Someone gave me a very good level, lots of good ideas, and honestly, one that I loved a lot. Like two people offered me on Instagram, Ukraine tomorrow. But also, it was sweet that many of you kept my. Uh, Don't buy Anna too many coffees, Spencer. What are you doing? You should like say buy Anna some wine. She is overworking. She's a workaholic. Yeah, I am. So don't worry. I'm not a alcoholic. I'm a workaholic. um, um, well, let's come back to. But I'm really grateful to those who like incorporated my name in the show because I also felt like maybe Anna talks or like I Google like Oprah Winfrey show and I said, why can't I? But no, I'm joking. And in general, I thought like I thought that I can give a couple of like shows to appear and maybe it will come up. Like someone gave me this advice that you can start and then you'll see that because honestly I was asking like people, those of you who don't know, I was asking people about the idea for series of the interviews that I might take and maybe you will see one tomorrow. And where I speak, but I don't want to limit like these conversations only to Ukraine because I want to start speaking about the future of Russia, you know. Very few politicians are ready to speak about what happens if everything goes right, if we win, but what happens to Russia, what happens to a great part of Eastern Europe, because all of that is very much connected, you know, like Belarus is under silent occupation by Russia. Baltic countries, Poland, Ukraine, we are all very much like dependent on each other. So that's why, like, I don't want it to be just limited to Ukraine. But of course, Ukraine is in the center because I'm Ukrainian and I'm speaking from the Ukrainian perspective and I'm interested, like, from the Ukrainian perspective. But but it's not just about Ukraine. It's about just like global things. Heroям slava and greetings to Czech Republic. A question that I will answer now. No, I mean, like when we win, yeah, but it's once again like, you know, I don't want to be a little bit negative, but many people discuss that. And the longer this war continues, many people talk about that. What victory will like the world accept? Because still so many people are afraid of Russia's losing. So many people are afraid. Thank you, someone, for buying me coffee. I really value that. Don't listen to Spencer. Buy me coffees. I'm sorry, that's not about that. But in general, many people are afraid to see Russia defeated, same as they were afraid of the collapse of the Soviet Union. And that's why they want Ukraine to win, but not like a super win. Something like, okay, and I often receive like comments, it's time to negotiate, or why don't you want to stop this war? We did not start this war, and we cannot, it's only Russia or the world can stop this war. Because if we stop this war, we will simply continue losing everything, or we'll have to accept, like, okay, a bear came into your tent, destroyed everything, ate your neighbor, and just like accept that. It's something that is impossible. And you know, honestly, this is a kind of comments that I never answer because why should I spend? I try to explain, and I try to provide you like the things how we Ukrainians see. I do understand you may have a different point of a different opinion, but at the same time, it's very important that like people are ready to hear or see, because if there is someone like total Russian vatnik, as you mentioned, like what can you do? And also, you were asking me about how can a civilian help. There are lots of initiatives, and I feel like I have to record a separate video on that. I had a video about volunteering initiatives. Thank you, Ling, for buying me coffees. And yeah, so there are different, it all depends in what sphere, almost in every sphere of Ukrainian life you can help. One, like maybe the easiest one, but an important one, is to speak to your politicians, especially in the United States, in Canada, where they are very sensitive. I know that in Germany they listen to the voters, and to explain to them that you are not tired, that you are not angry at the things that they provide Ukraine with. It's very important. Also, many of you I know, and you share these stories, and I'm super grateful for that. Support Ukrainian families, give job to Ukrainian people, because once again, many of you also saw that Ukrainians are not asking for money; they are asking for opportunities. They are trying to get the job. They are trying to learn something, and I also like it about our people. And this is also good because you give them not just like money. Thank you so much. I'm afraid to pronounce your name. We have to record it, and because Magnus, I'm afraid. And also, you by helping these people who left their homes, who left their lives, you're doing a great job. And for example, just now on the Instagram, I received beautiful photos about the lady that started her new life and working in the Netherlands, introducing to Ukrainian food. And that's like inspiring, and that's beautiful. In Ukraine, we have lots of charities and volunteer groups. Those that I have shared with you previously, they are different. And I typically try to share with you the largest. Because they have English pages, they are verified, they collect like millions, and you can always check. They have well-developed systems, because literally, for example, in my city, you will have like 15 or 20 different volunteering groups, but not all of them will have web pages. Many of them are working like 3 hours a day, and these are people who can be even angry or tired, and they are not that good, like they don't have the knowledge of language or something. So I try to introduce you to this that are more like user friendly. This does not mean that they are good or bad, but in general, they are very different. Then also you can donate. Some people like to be strong, and they like donating on like some military things like weapons, or like people don't brides. Thank you so much for buying me coffees, and I really appreciate this. Also, it's important to say that others want to avoid military things, and they are more into humanitarian help. All of that you can find, like starting from United 24 or Come Back Alive. These are super big institutions. Or Pratula is a famous volunteer who is also a comedian, like it looks, and an active politically person. So there are many initiatives. I will record perhaps a separate video on that. Also, I always like donate, and there are a couple of initiatives that I spend my money on. I can perhaps also record some stories. I have never collected money myself, because since school I'm afraid of all of these things, and I have chosen, and I feel that I'm best in this informational field. I'm not that good at buying stuff. For example, as volunteers, they are buying lots of things. They have networking connections, and I'm not good at that. So I believe everyone should be doing what he or she is best at, and I like can be like either a good speaker, and I like telling the story, and I believe it's also important. And others are good at buying, connecting people. So I can be like a poor volunteer or a better, I don't know, like person that or speaker. So that's just like everybody does what he does. But it's really important to like I often when I feel tired or like you say that we can burn out or something, then you think about people who are fighting. Oh, I have lots of examples, like very motivated volunteers are those who have like their husbands and their children, and there are many people who have like, I don't know, two sons and a husband fighting. Can you imagine? Like, these people are not taking care of themselves at all. They're working 24/7 without sleep, because that's literally very much emotional for them. So it's all very, very complicated. But uh, let me have a look. If I will tell you the name of the restaurant, I'm so much afraid to make a mistake, because I might make this mistake. Oh my God, what's the name of the restaurant? Just a second. Where like a Ukrainian is working. It's in the Netherlands, as I have already mentioned, and I have a suspicion that the name of the restaurant is is Hatsy Patsy or something like that. I don't know. Anyway, I will let you know. Like, you can contact me on Instagram. And no, this is like one of the many beautiful stories that you share with me about the Ukrainian people working in, like, when those who fled the war and found homes, temporary homes in your countries, and how they are working and so on. Uh, no, my friends don't loan me jewelry because, like, if I know that sometimes I have some trolls who might be interested, but my very expensive jewels are actually using it. This golden bracelet is having, and this was actually made by my mom. But I'm a kind of a girl who likes like wearing all of that stuff. So yeah, I do that. I can, but once again, I'm also not like 15, so I gotta have some better things in my life, too. Uh, Cannabis for soldiers in rehabilitation was not intended. Like, it's more intended for people with terminal illnesses, and like, it's a law that has recently been passed. So it's a like complicated question that raises lots of reactions, and I like don't have my shaped opinion on that. Thank you so much, Pat. And Pat is a great friend, and I love receiving your photos with beautiful like t-shirts. And by the way, I'm sorry, someone angry will say that too much merch, but this is a t-shirt that our designer has made, and I want to make an interview with him because he is like perfectly English speaking, and he has lots of interesting stories to share on how it is to live in Kyiv on the 22nd floor during air raid alarms. And this is from a very beautiful painting or gravure, how do you call it, that depicts Ukrainian Cossacks in boats. Thank you, Tom, for buying me coffees. Ukrainian Cossacks in ships, and Ukrainian Cossacks had very specific ships. They were known as Chaika, which is a name for a bird, and what is the seagull? And they were like very quickly moving. And I'm, by the way, very engraving. Yeah, I'm very picky at this, like designs And I typically like when there is a real story behind it. So this one tells how they came to Kaffa. Kaffa is a city in Crimea, but it belonged to Ottoman Empire, and it was a huge slave market. And Cossacks were known for very quick raids, and during these quick raids, uh, mm, they typically freed lots of people. Like Turks hated them for that because they like were capturing slaves, bringing them. Lots of Ukrainian women, by the way, were taken to Turkey. And by the way, I haven't spoken about her because like not yet. Roxolana, maybe you have heard about her. She was a wife of one of the greatest Ottoman sultans, and Suleiman's wife, yeah. And people like this story here in Ukraine, and it's extremely romanticized. But for one of my history articles, I was writing, guys, an article back in pre-war times. I was working with the daily Ukrainian newspaper, and I was writing like articles about the history and like intellectual shift of cuisine. Like it's not about recipes, but I loved it a lot. And I was writing one article about food in harems, what they were eating. And I have read a number of like English language articles about Roxolana, and honestly, I love them much more than Ukrainian, because Ukrainian are focused on how Sultan loved her, how he told her, "Thank you so much, Brian," and cheers. And they were writing like romanticizing the story. But then the English language articles, they were more focused on how important she was and how many things she actually revolutionized in Islamic world. And that like so that's what, and I'm speaking it speaking about that because I wanted to show that like Cossacks were freeing, but she was actually bought in Kaffa, traveled to Istanbul. Thank you so much, Günther. And she was bought, and but you see, it's shared as a success story. She exchanged letters with the Polish king, and she was like pretty not a typical suppressed woman. Greetings to Scotland, and a beautiful country. And thank you so much for being and supporting Ukraine. Those of you who haven't liked our stream yet, please do. Yeah, the majority. Now, I grew up speaking Ukrainian. Ukrainian is my native language. Don't exaggerate the number of people who speak Russian in Ukrainian. Typically, people were bilingual, and for a very long period of time in industrial centers, they were Russified, and they were made like if you come to work or if you want to be a chef, you have to to speak the Russian language. But then they returned home and they spoke Ukrainian. So, to good evening and greetings to the Netherlands Oblast. But the Netherlands is actually not Oblast. The Netherlands is a country, and in Ukrainian, the word for country is Kraina. Kraina. And greetings to Wales. I'm learning a little bit of Welsh, but I'm not yet ready to share words of that. Yeah, one really big oblast. Yeah, Ukraine is big, and many like I love it that my country is big, but many people are afraid, and like many unions are afraid of us. I think even NATO and EU are a little bit concerned about the fact that we're so big, and actually even with our population emigrating to many of your countries, fleeing the war. Many we're still a big country, and many like language and everything. So like when we enter something, the splash is going to be big. But I'm sorry. Good evening, Katarina. Thank you. I know you were with me from the very beginning, and I value our friendship. There are many of you that like I recognize. Thank you so much, Chris, for coffees. Spencer, they are not listening to you. But I don't know. In Ukraine, we have a drink that resembles coffee. It's made of zikorium, but it's not coffee. I don't like it, but my mom used to drink it. But it really looks like that. Thank you so much, Fred, for buying me coffees. And I, okay, someone wants my help with it. You're Malika. How can I help you with, like, if it's to bring flowers to a girl? um, yeah, you can see whales from the back of the window. Oh, it's very beautiful living on such border lines. Uh, um, Thank you so much for many ideas for the shows. Of course, it's always good if you write these comments below some of my Discover Ukraine videos, because I'm working, like I'm taking my pencil and I'm like putting down the things that I want to. Uh, uh, that I want to put, like, ideas that I want to cover later. Chai? Or what do you ask? Anna, is chai big in Ukraine? Well, like a European tour. I have to write a book, I guess, to make a European tour to make it serious. Those who were asking, like, still, I actually hate speaking about something that I haven't accomplished yet. But I have decided that if I share with you, it's a motivation to me. And I'm not writing it in Ukrainian, I'm writing it directly in English, because there are lots of books about Ukraine in Ukrainian. And secondly, because as a linguist, and I'm sure many of you feel that, you express a little bit differently in each language. And when it's a translation, look what a beautiful t-shirt. And when it is a translation, you're changing something. But when you're doing it directly, in that language, it's better. So of course I will need editors, and I see there are some volunteers, beautiful people. I will ask you to read that. By the way, thank you so much, Stuart, for buying me coffees and inspiring more book writing. Honestly, I am kind of um, typically, I protect my sentences. If it's about language, I always accept. But if it's about the style, I'm always very aggressive in the protection of what. That's what I mean. Like in Ukrainian, I do have my style. I know that I have my writing style, and typically, it's such a blessing when you find an editor that feels that this sentence, because when I write, I typically read the sentences and I want them to sound well for me. Like I feel it. That's my tempo, that's my rhythm. And and some people want to just to break it and make it more like, thank you so much, Mark, for coffees, and want to make it more typical, like standard, easier. But if we're talking about like fiction or nonfiction, but in this poetic kind, then then you have to be like, protect. That's my style. So that's what I do. But of course, with language and with making it sensible, I will definitely need it. Greetings to guys who join us. Don't forget to like this video. Chai, someone was asking me about chai. Yeah, we do like it. For example, I honestly drink more chai tea than coffee. I drink coffee in the morning. Guys, if I actually wanted to make fun of that and share it on Instagram, maybe I will, because soon I will have an update. You have never seen how I make coffee? Like, I don't have a coffee machine. Thank you so much, David, for buying me coffees. I don't have a coffee machine because I'm not that huge. I'm not the fan, like they are expensive. I'm not the fan of coffee that much. So like and that stuff. And I typically make coffee in a turka, or how do you say it, like in a special thing on fire, like on a stove. And I always miss the moment when it boils and it's everywhere. And it can be like out of in a week, it will be like 3 times. And I have already started like Turkish coffee or something. And I have like um, making like photos of that because I have lots of stories. Thank you, someone, for buying me coffees because like I am spoiling lots of coffee. So I'm sorry. It's not like campfire because like I'm doing it at home, but I don't know, like typical thing that they do it in perhaps in Asian countries, but it's coffee pot. Yeah. Thank you so much, beautiful person. It's a coffee pot. So I don't know, cowboy coffee. Maybe it's just like thank you so much for buying me coffees, choose or something. So I'm really bad, and I'm always telling you that I'm good at multitasking, but I'm not. Yeah, I live in Ukraine. That's why I am Anna from Ukraine. I did not leave my country. And someone asked me, perhaps uh, someone asked me, perhaps of our new subscribers, do I remember the first day of the war? Yes, very clearly. These are the things that you will never forget. Uh, well, it was not the day. I remember this dawn, and it's like winter, and it's dark, and you receive a phone call with just one phrase, it has started, and you don't believe it's possible because honestly, it is just like I don't wish you um, to experience that, but it was same unexpected to me as you would receive this call and someone would tell you that they are bombing your state or your, it's just like you are a normal person, you live in this normal world, and you not don't believe it's going to happen. So and then you turn on TV and you start looking in Facebook and everywhere, and you see that it's happening every, it's not just in the eastern part of Ukraine. We saw they can continue on the territory where like Ukrainian army was standing, and we were sure like that we are prepared at that side of Ukraine, but it was everywhere. It was in Kyiv. They were bombing airports. And after I received this call, like 10 minutes and you're running in the darkness, and I had to tell my mom, who was like ill at that time, and we're in the process of her uh, different procedures that she had to take, and apart from all the troubles that she has and challenges, uh, we had to, like, I had to come and tell her, Ma, the war started. She was so much afraid of that, and I used to tell her, no, it's not going to happen, but it did. Thank you, Stephen, for buying coffee. And then, like, I did not tell her it started for like an hour. I let her sleep, but I could hear explosions. And it's just like 10 minutes after you learn it's happening everywhere, and then you hear it in your own city. And my city is kind of far away, very close to European Union, and we feel a little bit like a little bit, yeah, normalcy bias. And thank you for calling me the genuine thing on YouTube. I like it. Thank you. And it was really like unbelievable. But I have already told you that there are lots of unbelievable emotions that you experience. You cannot predict you will experience them until you actually go through this period. And in my case, it was a feeling, I don't know if I will use the correct word, of revelation. Um, it was like when you realize that finally everybody sees like who is the aggressor and who is the victim. The world saw the real face of Russia. Perhaps the world did not expect that Ukraine will fight that much and that we will be that united. And for me, it was also a very important discovery. And I had to, yeah, the mask has fallen, and that was really important. And also, I realized like immediately, that's a very Ukrainian feature. You immediately need everything like medication, food, you need to supply yourself with. And I remember that in the morning, I feel like I have to go and buy some things, all of that. And thank you so much, Stefan, perhaps. And it was very like I had to go out, and my mom did not want me to go out. She was super worried. And then I went out, like it was 8 or 9 in the morning. Of course, nobody went to sleep. The TVs were working all the time. We are not watching TV, perhaps same as you. I mean, traditional television, but back at that time, like they started reporting everything. And I went out, and I went out to the street, and I saw lots of military people around. And it was such an unusual thing for me. But at the same time, you wanted like to hug everyone because you realized that all of these people are here to protect you. And there were huge queues for everything, like for Nurofen, Panadol. People were trying. We did not know what will happen. Now, after a year and a half, we are adapted. We adapted to blackouts. I have this like observations. Someone told me, "Do you?" Thank you, Jason, so much. You were saying that, like, write war diaries and so on. I am not living. I'm lucky not to live in that. Like, I'm sure more people have more what to say. They've lost their houses, they've seen huge shellings. I did not. I travel Ukraine, I try to see these places. There were explosions in my city, people die, people go to front lines. We experience all that. So some people say, like in the Western Ukraine, they don't understand. We have funerals daily. I have visited mom this Friday on the graveyard, and its graveyard is growing, this military part, enormously. So we do feel war. Just the infrastructure is not so. I'm sorry, friend, but I'm a selfish person, and I'm not that much about collecting accounts of others. I feel like there's things that I can verbalize good, and I try, like, first of all, to explain Ukraine. And there are many observations, personal, that may be interesting. They are also related to war. And one of the things that I personally hate, and I realize that, what, like, I am pretty strong. Sometimes I have some friends who tell me that I have to be softer. I'm not. Like, I'm not. I'm just like that kind of person, and I have always been. My dad wanted a boy, so he got. But one thing that made me really emotional recently, because sometimes when I pray and I think about my mom, it was something that I left in the room with the candlelight. And I have always loved candles, like girls love candles, all this with different aromas. I have them in my room, in my flat, and so on. And I realized that I feel very uncomfortable in the room with the candle. Something that was not like I loved that. And I felt like very anxious, and I felt like, and then I realized that's something that, well, like, this is interesting from the psychological point of view. We had this blackout period. Thank you, Richie. And we had this blackout period, and it was one. Of course, we adapted. We have lots of candles, and it was fun. But this was a process when, like, my mom was deteriorating. And believe me, if you don't have like 4 hours or 5 hours of light, and you have a sick person that needs many things and she feels not very good, and it's all in the darkness with candles, you don't feel very romantic at that moment. Plus, like, our heating system was dependent. We were not suffering because it was like 4 hours, 5 hours, and then it returned back to normality, and you had water and you had heat, but it was always candles. And I realized that if you like cook a romantic dinner and invite a Ukrainian woman, maybe maybe don't lit the candles, because for me, like, it brought so many emotions. I did not think that I'm that emotional. Once again, I'm pretty cowboy, but um that was kind of like, I realized that they have taken my love of like candles and that stuff, and I don't feel good in this environment with like candles. I feel nervous. I feel like I it reminds me of my mom, and honestly, that was like, thank you so much. Fuck Russia, I guess. I'm sorry. um, so uh, yeah, so there are many this minor things. At the same time, this period of blackout was very inspiring too, and I'm also trying to reflect on that, because when you go out in the streets and you see so many people were walking, and they started yeah, I liked it, Duncan. And you see many people, and cafes were making coffees and hot wine, and they have adopted really quickly. So it was I was afraid, what's that? I was literally thinking, what's that appearing? That's my hand, okay. Many of you were asking what I'm drinking. It's not Fanta, but it's a Ukrainian equivalent, and it's mango and peach. No, peach and orange, and it's pretty. It's with mineral water. It's not an advertisement, but you were asking. It's not that sugary as cola and Fanta. No, it's not wine. Wine is in the refrigerator. I will do it after the stream. But yeah, there are many things that from one point of view, believe me, there are lots of things that you quickly adapt to, and like washing your hand, heating, like it was. I will tell you one thing. You were asking about tea, and it's about war, and it's about my, like, it was very difficult, like, to make my mom eat something, because people who have chemotherapy and other things, their taste change, and they don't want to eat no matter what you do, and their sense of taste changes. And I was like, during this blackout, she literally didn't like anything, whatever you do. And I needed to make some tea. And typically we have an electric kettle, but when you don't have electricity, you have to make it on a gas stove. And I was doing it like at schools they are doing here. So, it's different. It's not like you make tea and you put tea and you put boiled water about it, but you actually boil tea. So perhaps it loses some of its good qualities, but it has a little bit different taste, and it reminds the tea that they make at schools. Maybe that's a kind you drink in a camp, like when you actually put tea about water and then you give it boil for a certain period of time, and add some sugar, and it has a little bit different taste. I know that's taste. And like my mom, I made it for her during this blackout because there was no other option, and we needed some hot tea, and she was like, oh my god, it's so tasty. And this was like one of the memories that I have. But it's it's really like I try to block these memories in my mind. A good Ukrainian drink will be beer. We have lots of good breweries. And wine. Ukraine has this like good location for wine too. And if you want a specific kind of Ukrainian wine, because many of you are asking that, um, it's known as Odessa Black. It's a specific Ukrainian kind of grape, Odeski Chorny. And yeah, maybe it's an Indian way of making tea. It's interesting. So it's a red dry wine and with a very like, I like wines you were asking, like I like different kinds of wine. I can like white wine too in summer, but perhaps more I like red wine with this like Shiraz, someone was mentioning like Chilean or Argentinian. Yeah, and I like vanilla Coke because it is not sold in Ukraine. Kvass is good. Yeah, kvass is good in Ukraine. And in Lithuania, kvass is good. There are many things that we share. And I actually like it how people can exchange culturally. When we were on a trip to Lithuania recently, there was nothing unusual for me in Lithuania. It was really tasty. I loved the country, but it was similar to what I eat in Ukraine, what I drink in Ukraine. And we had the girls from Greece, and everything was interesting for them because perhaps it's really difficult. It was too difficult to explain what is kvass. Like what is kvass? It's not beer because it's not alcoholic, but it's light, but it's sweet. So the best way is to, yeah, and Jack Daniels. The best way is to come and experience. So I do hope that soon you will come. My travel plans. Well, I am supposed to be in Brussels in October because of my work for a short trip. We are working on one trip with a project. We would love to organize it to Dublin, but we are still working, so we don't know if we will make it. I will be in Lublin in Poland in September and Prague for December, maybe. But this is all for the projects. By the way, if we ever become a community, okay, thank you so much. Um, uh, yeah, when Ukraine wins, I am ready, like to get drunk. Honestly, I can be online like 24/7. And the stream with Silicon Curtain is going to be on the 10th of August. He has a webpage, and on his webpage you can read more details about that. I have been to Prague before, but I have always visited Prague in bad weather. I hope this December, if everything goes right, will be better. Yeah, there are lots of honey. Ukraine is a good honey producer. We have honey everywhere. And by the way, we are also famous for alcoholic drinks with honey. In my region, for example, there are many. Like they're good. I'm not a huge fan. Like I cannot say that I like alcohol, but if I have to choose, I choose like traditional beer, wine. I don't experiment with that. But thank you so much, Lane. And also med, yeah, med. In Ukrainian, honey is med. Also, guys, if we ever reach a community of 100,000, and I really hope that, so ask your parents, great parents, grandchildren, friends, pets, if they have YouTube to sign. So I think if we reach like 100,000 subscribers, I will feel more confident, and maybe we can think and organize something like a meet and greet somewhere outside Ukraine, because I will not feel safe to invite you if it happens sometime soon before the end of the war. So your dog is logging on now. I will subscribe in return if it's your dog. If your dog subscribes. No, I haven't been to UK or Wales, but I would love to. Like since childhood, that's like I was studying English literature. We had country study where we introduced to the like Norman conquest. What do you typically drink for tea? Eat during tea and so on, biscuits and all of that stuff. So I would like. I was thinking about this possibility to meet with you then if we have 100,000, and I would like you to give some ideas what the place could be, so that like if someone will be interested and we could like choose a location that is suitable for many, or and that is okay, I would I would love to visit the USA. I think I should take it more seriously. These are motivations for writing a book. You know, if you finish that book, you will have a reason to travel more. So, yeah, I would like to meet in Yalta. That would be like a Yalta conference. Also, when I feel that I'm working too much or something, I remind myself of Churchill. He was working more, and he was writing so much, and he got a Nobel Prize for literature, and he was like also piloting planes. And then I tell myself, and you women think that you do a lot. So yeah, it's not a romance book, it's a non-fiction book. Yeah, of course, I would like to. Yeah, I have been to Nice and I loved it. It was like long ago, and it was really. I loved the uh, everything, but there were lots of Russian churches and Russian people in Nice. Raccoon is making me tea. Raccoon is making me tea in the kitchen. uh, Yeah, flower headpiece. Yeah, I like Ukrainian like national costume is very interesting, and it might be a topic for like all Ukrainian women. They like to dress up, and national our national costume is beautiful. I have shared on my community tab one project which is known as Spadok. Spadok in Ukrainian is heritage, and they have brief videos where they recreate traditional national costumes of different regions, and they do it in like because I like it when it's a quality video and a quality recreation, and that's what they do. uh, okay. um, yeah, historic clothing and so on. So maybe a couple more questions, and let's make 1,000 likes as Martin advised us. That would be great. Yeah, 65 likes to 1,000. That's not difficult. You can do it. Okay, somebody wants, Jennifer, you want to know how when I'm drunk, I become very serious when I'm drunk. You live in this. Yeah, that's good. That's a very, I have a memory. Oh, I will tell you a joke about, like, it was a tour and I was super tired. And I remember that we were with friends and I fell asleep on the, do you say it, on the shore? Like, it's like stones you have. Not that comfortable, but I fell asleep and I slept like 2 hours. And I remember people telling me, "Come on, you're in Nice and you're sleeping, and it's not okay. You have to be doing something." And I felt like, I think it's kind of cool that I'm in Nice and I'm sleeping. So yeah, and I remember lots of planes flying, and I was also eating. Oh my god! In Ukrainian, it's inzir. It was the first time I tried them, not dried, but I don't know what's the English. Maybe a passion fruit. No, passion fruit is maracuya, perhaps, but it's anyway. I liked it. Uh, yeah, I will do like a real live stream. Oh, 1,000 reached. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, everybody. Thank you for 1,000 likes. Yes, meet and greet somewhere in Europe. I'm thinking about this possible location, so give me advice because I was thinking about like, of course, Warsaw is close to me, but it can be something far away, further away. It's not a problem. Yeah, so we can decide like what location because when you start traveling more, you realize that some locations may be uh, maybe easier to reach. By the way, there is such a thing as Europeana, cultural heritage platform, and we are thinking about this that we might travel to The Hague. The conference is in October, and we have an invitation actually with my organization. We are considering this possibility. And we were just like, yeah, we can make a community poll, but after we reach 100,000. Um, and um, that's why, like, they were telling, would you like to come to The Hague? And we, yes. Preparing the court, I'm ready to do everything, starting from evidence collection and finishing with cleaning the floor, whatever you ask me. And that would be interesting. Yeah, Denmark is definitely a place because I have so many good people in Denmark that, yeah, and I love Berlin and many other locations. So perhaps after we come closer to 100,000, we will make a poll and it will be so exciting, honestly. I will be really happy to see you. That would be such an inspiration. Yeah. Uh, yeah, and of course, when Putin is in The Hague, I will travel there. I promise you. If everything goes right, I will not miss this opportunity. We will have like a live stream from the court. That would be really good. Mhm. Some org trials that can be a really long process because there are lots of people who are guilty, and believe me, many Russians are guilty too. Yeah. Okay, one vote for The Hague and for Denmark too. Okay, maybe a couple more questions, and many of you tell me that I have to go and sleep, so I will I will go and sleep then. Yeah, and now Spencer tells you 100, 1,000. I'm bad at that. 1,100. By the way, numerals in Ukrainian language are much easier than in English. I know people will say 1,100, but we don't say that in Ukrainian. We don't think in that uh, direction. Yeah, under Eiffel Tower. And no, we cannot do it under Eiffel Tower because there will be lots of people selling souvenirs and wine. They will distract us. Yeah. I do have wine in my refrigerator. Yes, we have Asians in Ukraine, like different people, different cultures. Of course, now many people who are not like Ukrainian, who don't have their families, who were studying here or doing business, they left, and that's understandable. They are waiting for this war to finish, and then they will come back. And I totally agree with that. Okay, see, many people advising me a glass of wine. I promise. Subscribe to my Instagram, and I will share a glass of wine with you after the stream, so you can be sure that I'm doing that. Uh, okay. Um, Anyway, tomorrow you will see a different kind of video. It is not going to be about Discover Ukraine series, though we continue this series and we were filming things in Kyiv. And I don't look really good because it was so sunny. And I decided that it will not be very polite to be in sunglasses. And I put them from time to time, and all the other moments, I'm like keeping my eyes open. 1100 лайків це 100 тисяч лайків, але 1100 це that we would get to. So, but tomorrow you will see an interview with, I guess, one of your favorite YouTubers too. But I'm not jealous because he's a boy. I'm not jealous of boys. Only if you will like other girls, I'll be jealous. But, and I'm sure you will like it. I am learning to interview, so don't be very angry at me. So many variants, you'll see tomorrow. And so I see, like, Starsky is winning among your favorite YouTubers. Yeah. So this is going to be a first interview in the series. You will let me know what things you like, what you did not like. I'm totally okay if a critic is constructive, not like troll critics. I don't take into account. Thank you. Greetings to your wife. Thank you so much. Special greetings to your wife. That is really sweet. I believe that women should support women, and women only become strong when they like other strong and smart women. That's what I do. It is a recorded interview, so it will appear about the same time, I guess, at 8 p.m. Ukrainian time. Sasha is sending all of your greetings. I know you ask often about him. He's fine. He was like a bit tired of me in Kyiv because I wanted to film everything, and he was like, but that was really sweet. Yeah, I'm just like learning to interview. Anyway, thank you so much for being with me. I think that our next stream will be somewhere around my birthday, and I'm not going to like my birthday this year, honestly, because this will be a birthday without my mom, and I have always tried to spend my birthday with mom. That's why I did not have this habit to travel or something for birthday after it, but not before. But also, we are going to have this interesting event on the 10th of August in Lviv. You can check Silicon Curtain's channel, and he's going to invite many interesting people. Some of them I know, some of them I don't. You can follow the event. I'm planning to visit Lviv. I like it. And thank you so much, Spencer, for kind words. But I'm not that good on birthdays. Yeah. Hugs to those, who lost their moms and understand what that is. Everyone has an individual story and individual emotions, but I do understand. Yeah, sister, I did not know that about your mom. Now I will, but many, many hugs to all of you. And thank you so much for being with me. Thank you for all that coffees. Sasha will be hyper excited too. Thank you for being my patrons. You know, they are really nice. And also, I will love to introduce you to Andriy, who is a designer and stands behind that. My longtime friend. Like, we were counting that we're friends like for 19 years, and that's kind of a lot. Anyway, thank you so much for being with me. Thank you so much to Martin and Spencer for being awesome friends. I greatly value your presence in my life, and it goes definitely beyond moderating and monitoring, but just like being friends. And Spencer, we have to practice your Ukrainian finally, you know? And anyway, thank you so much, guys. It's an honor to have you in my life. Thank you for caring about Ukraine. Watch our interview. Uh, watch our interview tomorrow. Let me know what you think. And of course, I'm always grateful for your comments and your advice. And traditionally, Slava Ukraini. Good night.